Hi guys, I'm here to talk to you guys about the flexible dieting program that we're going to be doing. First thing, okay, you guys have to understand is what are macronutrients. Okay, so basically macronutrients are your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your fats. Okay, that's what you guys got to learn about. What's the difference between protein, carbohydrates, and fats? What are they? Okay, the next thing, the beauty about the flexible dieting program is this: we're not going to be counting calories. Okay, let's get that in your head. You're not counting calories. You're basically going to be measuring your macros. So how much protein you got that day, how much carbs you got that day, how much fats. Okay, and that's going to be your answer for what you need to eat in the course of a day. The next thing you guys have to know about is that all calories are not equal. Okay, so 2,000 calories of carbs and sugar are not the same as 2,000 calories of protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Okay, remember, okay, that's the basis of flexible dieting program. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys now to MyFitnessPal.
Hi everybody, it is Niall here, and I am going to show you how to build your meal plan using the foods you like. Okay, so let's start from the start. Now usually when using MyFitnessPal you can use it on your phone, but when I'm building the meal plan I like to do it on my laptop or your desktop, and I like to do it the night before. Actually, usually I prep it out during the week, and then I adjust as the days go. But don't just do it as you go. And the reason for that is it's kind of like if I gave you $100 to spend and you just spent it willy-nilly, right? And I told you, well, you had to have 50 bucks at the end of the day. But if you don't really think about it, you might have 50, you might not. But if you plan ahead and you budget and you're like, okay, I can buy this stuff and it'll cost 50 and I'll have 50 at the end of the day, then you'll nail it. So like all these things, it's preparation, and keep remembering this work that you're doing now will become second nature. It'll get easier and it'll get to a point where you don't need this all the time. Okay, so let's get into the work now. So when we go here, first thing we want to do is adjust our goals. So once you send us your measurements, we're going to send you access to a Google Sheet. So this is going to be your name, drop 2 sizes. These macros, the protein, carbs, fats, and your refuel day, where we take 1 day of the week and we give you twice the carbs. This is going to be individual for you. Okay, and later on in different videos I'll show you how to insert a pic, a before pic, and insert your food logs and the measurements you'll take at the end of the week. And you look at the bottom here, there's week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. You check at the start of every week, and if we need to make adjustments with these numbers, they'll be there. But for right now, we have these numbers from Sally Jones, and we're going to use those for this example. So we go back over here. First thing we do is we're going to adjust our goals. So from home to goals, click on goals, and there you are. So those are my goals right now. I'm going to adjust them to look like Sally's. I click edit. Okay. Now, ideally, you'd want to set by grams, but that costs about 12 bucks a month if you want to have access to that functionality. If you do, and you want to spend 12 bucks a month for the next couple of months, please do, and then you can just punch in the exact grams. If you don't, we're just going to ballpark it just so it's close to your goals, but you have your goals and you'll know what you need to hit every day, but this will sort of give you a ballpark. So you'll notice on week 1, we're going to give you your calories. We won't do that moving forward, you won't need it, but for week 1 we will. So you're going to be at 1617. And then we're just going to play with these percentages. Again, they only give you so much functionality. You can't pick the exact percentage. So these numbers will be slightly off, but they'll be in the ballpark. So if we're at about, let me see, 35% for carbs, I think we want to be at 30% and 45. No, I'm off here. So protein should be about 148. So 40% is a little high. 35% is pretty good. Carbs should be about 107. So we go down to 25, we're at 101. And then fats will make up the difference, so those will be at 40. So you can see it's a little off. This should be 148 instead of 141. This should be 66 instead of 72. This should be 107. But it's in the range, right? Hit the numbers that we give you, but when you're checking your totals, you'll know if you're way off or if you're close just at a glance. So save those changes, and there they are. And now we're going to go into the food section and create a macro budget for today. So like I said, you'd be doing this before the day of. So let's go through. The biggest demand we have is on protein. That should be 148. Okay? So what I like to do is I go through my day and I punch in my protein because that's the hardest thing to hit. Okay? And then we can get the rest of it moving on. So you want to eat within a half hour of waking up. I like to eat protein in the morning. Eggs are a great source. All right? So what I would do is add food. Now when you add food, it clicks to this page. You're not going to have populated foods yet, but the foods you use most often are going to go in frequent, and the ones you look for lately are in recent, so it'll make it much easier moving forward. But I want to look for 2 fried eggs. I'm going to fry my eggs in some coconut oil. Okay, 2 egg whites, 2 eggs fried, right there. Right? 2 eggs fried, 1 serving, add to meal 1, add to your food diary. And there it is. It's 1 carb, 14 grams of fat, 13 grams of protein. And then I'm going to, now we're going to go down to meal 2. Actually, you know, we'll just skip to lunch, right? We'll keep this really simple. At lunch, I'm going to have a chicken breast. I know that. So I'm going to pick a 6-ounce chicken breast. Right, there you go. It doesn't matter the brand. A 6-ounce chicken breast is roughly the same. So I'll pick one of those. Okay, my protein's now at 49 total. I'll look at dinner, which is usually meal 5. And let's say I'm having 6 ounces of tilapia. So 6-ounce tilapia. There's grilled tilapia, 6 ounce, and I'll add that. Okay, so I'm at 83. I'm well on my way, but I still have some work to do. Now this is usually why I take protein shakes, because it's an easy way to get to my protein number. So I'll probably throw mid-morning in a protein shake. Okay? Now I like Muscle Tech. There's a lot of good brands. Head over to Popeyes. They carry a lot of good brands at Kingston White Road. Muscle Tech Phase 8 is one of my favorites. So I'll look for that. There's the vanilla. It's not going to be any different than the chocolate. You can go searching for it, but it doesn't really matter. Right? Just pick one. Okay, we're at 109. We're closing in. And then you know what? I'll have a dairy bar as a second snack. So one of these low-carb Darryl bars. Let me see here. This one's one of the low-carb ones. All right, I'm pretty darn close to my number. Now you see, other foods that we eat that are considered carbs or fat have a little bit of protein. So that might be enough to get me to where I need to go. So I'm going to leave it here for now. So now I'm going to add in my carbs, okay? So I'm going to skip carbs for breakfast because then I wake up and I just keep burning fat. But at lunch, you know what? I like rice. I'm going to have a cup of rice. Now I could keep searching, but I'll show you what I mean. I have a cup of rice right here because I have it all the time. So I just add in that checked food from my frequent foods, okay? And let me see, what else am I going to do for carbs? Veggies contain carbs, so let me just think about what I'm going to have for dinner. For dinner, I know I'm just going to have fish and a salad, and I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to have a cup of baby spinach, which I looked up recently. It should be here somewhere. 1 cup of baby spinach. And you see, that says half a cup. I want 1 cup. Okay, I'll add that. Okay, so see that? The baby spinach still has a lot of carbs, so that's going to have my carb number come up. And I like salad dressing, and I got a lot of room on my fat number because I can go to 66. So I'm not even going to go for a low-fat dressing. You know what? I'm just going to have some Renee's dressing. I'll just type that in. I think I want the poppy seed one. Let me see if that, hey, there it is. So I'll grab that. And you know what? I'll measure it out. I'll just have a tablespoon. Now, in terms of the meat, I should say with measurements, you can get a very cheap, like 20 bucks, food scale from like HomeSense or something. Or if you buy it from JW Foods or a place like that, they'll come pre-measured. You can buy a box of just 6-ounce chicken breasts. But a medium-sized chicken breast is about 6 ounces, right? So best thing to do is get a food scale, and then after a while, you can pretty much eyeball what's 6 ounces, 4 ounces, what have you. I like to use tablespoons, teaspoons, cups, because those are always readily available at home to measure, and the food scale, and I'm good in terms of measuring stuff. So where are we at? My carbs are at 92. I can go up to 107, so I got some room there. You can see protein's creeping up. I'm getting closer. And my fat, I got a way to go. So let me see what I'm going to do. You know what I'm going to do? At lunch, I love avocados. I'm going to throw in half an avocado. So 1/2 avocado. Awesome sauce. There we go. So you see, I throw it in, and I just scroll down, and I just check my numbers, right? Fat's there. We're getting there. Now, protein seems to be a bit of a challenge. I'm going to add in first a little fat. Now, I usually have my shake with water. But to thicken it, what I use is a teaspoon of, let me see, natural peanut butter. Right? So the only ingredients should be peanuts. So here's one. I don't use this brand, but 1 natural tablespoon of peanut butter is as good as another. So I'll just add that one in. All right, I'm getting there. Now I'm a little off. So what I'm going to do, here's a simple thing. My protein shake, instead of having just 1 scoop, I'm going to have 1.5 scoops. And I bet you that gets me pretty much on my numbers. Right? I'm almost there. I'm a little low on fat. You could add something in. Maybe you'll have like another tablespoon of dressing or something like that. Right? You can play around with it. I'm a little over on my protein. I'm not too worried. Protein isn't going to kill me. So if I'm a little over there, I'm not stressed. This carb number, that's where I want to be. Right? I always want to be right around the number that I'm targeting. So this is all fine and dandy, but you're looking at this and you're like, but Niall, you said I could have cookies. You said I could have ice cream. And you are right. So let's look at some alternatives. Let's say I'm at work during the day and I don't really care about having a cup of rice. I would rather have a treat. So I'm going to give you an idea. I did this to compare. Why don't we get rid of this? Or actually, first we'll add the other one in so you can see the numbers add up. So instead of a cup of rice, let's say that I wanted to have a PopTart with breakfast. So I'm going to add in a s'mores PopTart. Okay, there it is right at the top. Add that in. Now let's look at this. I put it in at lunch, but I probably have it at breakfast. Okay, my Pop-Tart, and we're comparing the Pop-Tart to the rice. Both around the same calorie count, 206 versus 200. Carb count, there's actually less carbs in the Pop-Tart, a little more in the rice. Protein's about the same. The fat is a little higher with Pop-Tart, but nothing too drastic. 5 grams isn't going to make a huge lick of difference. Now the sugar is much higher. But this sugar number is encompassed in this total carb number. So you have simple carbohydrates, which are sugars, and complex carbohydrates, but this number encompasses both. So you could swap out your cup of rice, put in your Pop-Tart, and all of a sudden you get to have a treat today, right? That's how it's done. And let me give you an example. I did this on another page of things you can swap out. So I would get rid, you hit this little red button, you can delete it. I would get rid of the rice. So I'm going to have chicken and avocado, and then I'm going to have a Pop-Tart. Okay? Let's see here. I went and did this. Did I do this yesterday? Just an example of some things that are pretty interchangeable. Okay? So you might want to have a cup of sweet potato. Well, that's about the same as the Pop-Tart, roughly, which is about the same as a cup of rice. When you're looking at these carb numbers, we're 40s, high 30s. Now look, a Tim Hortons chocolate glazed donut. Carb number's the same, but with this one, the fat is a little too high because that really jacks the calorie number, right? So these are the things you got to watch out for. If you wanted to have that Tim Hortons donut, you got to get your fat down. So I might do something like have less salad dressing, or I might have half a tablespoon of peanut butter in my shake, right? It's these little things because the devil is in the details, okay? Love Snickers bars, okay? But a whole Snickers bar is going to be too much. So what I did was I only had 0.5. I had half a bar. So if you click on the item, you can change the total. So if I had half a Snickers bar today, again, I could get rid of my rice, I could get rid of my sweet potato at lunch, and have half a Snickers bar. Or a Rice Krispie treat. Now again, you'll see I did 0.7 because originally I put in a whole one, right? If I change that to one whole one, I got a Rice Krispie treat at Starbucks, you'll see the carbs are starting to creep up a little too high. There's a lot of fat in it, and the calories are a little over. So what I did with this was I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to cut a third of it off, and maybe I'll save that for another day. And I could have that. So that's the way you get to have a treat in your day, those things that you feel like you're missing, and still hit your numbers. Okay? So that's the way you build a food budget. So play with that with the foods that you like. All right? And see how you can get to your totals eating the things that you like most. And that's it. Any questions? Fire us an email. Talk to you soon.